never wonder what heaven looks like.
Was how many chose to spend their Easter Sunday morning, coming together at Baltimore City Harbor to pray for peace in the city. This type of call for change isn't unusual, but some leaders say that doesn't make the need any less great. Joining us now from Peace, Baltimore, Senior Pastor of Rock City Church, Bishop Bart, and Senior Pastor of Lord's Church of Harvest, Apostle Jonathan Patterson. Thank you both for coming by. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good
to be here.
We learned of you as you had an experience down there at the Inner Harbor. You brought a lot of people together, different churches, and let's just start about the goodness that came out of that, because there's folks who are tired of violence in their city.
Yeah, I think people are. I think people have got to a point where it's a breaking point, a tipping point. And people have decided that something's got to happen, and the church plays a big role in really bringing about the community and bringing it together, and the church has probably not done its best job. And so we've been meeting together now. We got about 50-some pastors meeting together, and we've been meeting for about 7-8 months. And we just came to the point where we said, let's do something that's out of the ordinary. And going down there at the harbor, having that sunrise service was absolutely perfect.
Well, did you feel like you got the reception you were hoping for? Do people feel like they're all in now to make this part of their fight?
Absolutely. I believe that, especially the turnout and the attendees. We saw persons there with great enthusiasm wanting us to do more. When's the next gathering? When's the next meeting? They believe that this was just the breaking moment for us to continue and move forward with our efforts.
And of all things to happen, you leave that exact same spot and we have another incident of violence. I'm guessing that touched you even more.
Yeah, I saw it, and I just, I said, well, it tells me one thing, that we were in the right place, and it's at the right time. It didn't mean that it stopped anything. It just meant that we've now started to mobilize.
Sure.
So now the church can step into some active roles of offering solutions. And there's so much that's happening. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was talking about this, and I think the old adage was, it takes a community to raise a child.
Sure.
And I think it happens with the home. I think the home has to play the biggest role. I think dads being back in the home, dads taking responsibility. Yes. I think that's a big issue. And then you move through the sequence and you go to the church has always been a mainstay. In the inner city especially, the church has been a real standard bearer. And I think the church has got to step into its role, not just in service of church, but in active, what do we do? And then I think you have businesses in the area have to take a role. There's investments they could do to better parks, to change things. We used to have the POW centers and to open up the places for these kids to have a place to go. And then, you keep moving through the process. I think the politicians have a role. I think the police, of course, has a role, all the security part. But I think everybody has to come on the same page and decide, now's the time. If we don't, we're going to lose a generation again. And we're right now at a crucial point. I wrote a book about generations, Generation 1, Generation 2, 3, and 4, and 5. There's 5 generations on the earth at all times.
Okay.
And the Generation 1 is from 0 to 11. Generation 2 is 12 to 25. Generation 3 is 25 to 50. Generation 4 is 50 to 70. And Generation 5 is just 70 and above.
Okay.
And each one of them has a role. And one of the things that is important is in our church world and in the natural world that we all live in, if the Generation 3, that's the ones that are 25 to 50 and 50 to 70, is a 4, if they don't turn towards Generation 1 and 2 right now, from the church's standpoint, I don't know if we'll have a church in 25 years.
Well, you bring it up, and Jonathan, tell me about this. There are some folks who have not found church, and that's okay. That's their prerogative. That's right. But that doesn't mean they don't have a place in this fight. And I'm wondering, what's the message to folks who, for them, church just isn't in their life? How can they still be part of what you want to do?
So whether church is in your life or not, God has put in every man purpose. Every person has a purpose. They have a destiny. And a part of that purpose is answering a question and solving a problem. So we believe doesn't matter if you're in church or not, you have a responsibility to answer a question and to solve a problem. And that's what we're looking for at Peace for the City. Those who are understanding completely their purpose, understanding that what's in them is there to solve a problem and to answer a question, and we can partner and we can see some change in Baltimore.
Got about a minute left. I'll give you the impossible task. If there's a solution that stands out, and you gave me quite a few, if there's something really stands out and you want to hear from folks, what's the best way for them to deliver a solution to you? And how can they be a part of some of these services or even a walk if you end up doing that throughout the city?
So here's the beautiful thing. There's a church on every corner.
Okay.
There's a church on every corner, and we have representation all over Baltimore City. And you can step through those doors, shake the hand of the pastor, meet those who are in leadership there, and say, listen, I want to be a part of the change for our city. I want to be a part of the solution in our city. And they can plug you in and connect you to the various resources that we have at Peace for the City.
Bart, you hopeful?
Very much so. I was a drug addict.
Okay.
And in and out of jail, shot at, and was actually given up on. Lost my parents when I was young. And one thing I realized was I found that there were people that really cared. And that's what turned me, the care for people that I didn't even know. I had a neighbor, she just used to love on me. And it used to like blow my mind. Yeah. And that's available right now. Our neighbors, we gotta all begin to reach out and touch people, become related. You know, the computer and all that's happened has made us go inward instead of outward. Sure. And having block parties and those kind of things and doing what we've done in the past can really make a difference.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you. It's good to see you both.
Thank you, Jason.
Appreciate it, certainly.